The one thing that you definitely need to do before your classes start is so the new semester is actually coming up in only a couple of weeks, so a lot of you may be wondering how college classes are like, especially if you are a freshman in college coming in from high school and are wondering how to best study and prepare for some of these classes. So this video is part of a series of college videos I've made in the past where I talk about what to bring to college, tips, and other sort of things that can really help you out, so make sure to check those out when you're done watching this one. So the very first tip I have for you guys is make sure you have a planning system to keep organized. And for college classes, all the classes are set up differently and there's no specific schedule to any of the classes, so the midterms can happen pretty much sporadically throughout the semester for a lot of these classes. Oh, and something that I realized when I first got to college is that a lot of the classes only have 1 or 2 midterms throughout the whole semester, so you usually have a big block of time in the beginning of the semester in which you don't have anything going on besides homework, and then you get to October and then you just have like 3 exams within a 2-week period. Having a system really allows you to be able to see when your assignments are out and then you can adequately prepare for all of them. My second tip is to use office hours and to use them early on. In college, your class sizes can be up to the several hundreds of people, and usually you can't really ask questions during class, so a lot of the questions need to be asked after class, usually in office hours. So this is when the professor or TA, which stands for teaching assistant, they will hold these times outside of class for students to go ask questions. And a lot of times students don't really come in during the school year or during the semester. They get a lot of students coming in literally like right before the exams. Professor TA gives you tips, and you can even start to build like a relationship with them in which they can give you more advice or tips on their career, or even be more lenient when they're grading your specific exam because they know your name. The third tip is to not wait until the week of the exam to study for it. And I know this has happened to me a few times, but something that is really different in college is that there's not like chapter tests in high school. You're tested on specific chapters of the book like every 2 weeks, but there's only 1 or 2 exams throughout the entire semester period in which you have an exams. Usually these exams make a big portion of your grade since they're only used once or twice. I remember I used to have like a midterm that was 40% of my grade, and that was something I was not used to. For this, I think it's super useful if you make a study guide that you're making in advance, and every week you sort of like look over your notes for that class and summarize what you learned and key points onto that doc. So by the time it gets to midterm or final, you already have a document that kind of summarizes the key points. The fourth tip is to make friends in your classes, and if you don't have friends, then find some in lecture or your discussion. And this is super helpful in college because when it comes to a lot of the material, you have so many things happening from this class and maybe other classes. So when you have several friends that you can study with, you can check homework, quiz each other, and also teach each other concepts that the other person may not know best. And it just makes it much easier to study than if you're doing it alone. You have multiple brains working together, so it always makes things more efficient. And I remember for some of my classes, I didn't know anyone in some of my classes, but in lecture, I would sort of like see the same people coming into the lecture halls every now and then. I'll try to talk to them, and we sort of have like a friendly class relationship, and that really helped me a lot when it came to studying for midterms, finals, and even checking homework and doing group projects together, so that's been super helpful so far. My fifth tip is to try to attend as many lectures as you can. So the biggest difference between high school and college classes is that in high school, a lot of your attendance is usually tracked by your teacher, but in college, like no one actually cares if you go to class. Like it's more for your own benefit than for the professor to keep track of their students. So a lot of people tend to not go to their classes, and I know a lot of cases people usually let the material pile up towards the midterm, and then they just study everything the night before, and it's just like a huge mess that you don't really want to get yourself into. So the best thing to do is to try to keep up with the material as the lectures go on every week. The one thing that you definitely need to do before your classes start is making a 4-year planner, which is my next tip on the list. And basically this is sort of like making a rough schedule of all the classes that you want to take throughout your 4 years of college and the classes you'll be taking each semester. So this is a good idea for several reasons. The first one is because not all classes are offered every semester. Some classes are only offered in the spring or the fall. And the next reason is so you don't overload yourself with too many units. Sometimes what happens is that students won't really keep track of the requirements throughout the 4-year planning phase, and by the time they get to their junior, senior year, they realize they have a bunch of requirements that didn't fulfill. And even if you're not sure about the types of classes that you want to take throughout all their semesters, I think it's still a good idea to have like a rough idea or plan of the classes you want to take, just so that you can make room in your schedule when I want to add new classes, take out old classes. So I'm going to put a screenshot of my 4-year planning class right here, and as a senior going in, I already know all the classes that I will need to graduate next spring, so this schedule has served me well, and I'm sure it will do you a lot of help as well. Okay, so this is kind of like a bonus tip, but if you are joining some clubs, it's really useful because a lot of these clubs actually have like databases of past exams and homework solutions that are sort of given and contributed by older members. So this is super helpful, at least for me. When I joined clubs, there were some like resources that older students passed down, which were helpful for the younger students when it came to classes. I actually have another video of me explaining the club process at Berkeley, which also applies to other schools, so you can check that out right here. Yeah, joining clubs is super helpful when it comes to studying and academics, so I would highly consider joining one. Alright everyone, so I hope this video was helpful in terms of preparing for college classes. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate if you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you think or if you have any other video ideas. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!